Here's a number that should make you rethink everything you know about the corporate ladder. $5.7 billion. That's the size of the fractional executive market right now, growing 14% annually. And by 2027, 40% of C-suite roles in mid-market companies won't be full-time positions at all. They'll be fractional. This isn't consulting. This isn't gig work. This is embedded executive leadership across 3 to 4 companies simultaneously. And it's reshaping what a successful career looks like. Imagine earning $400,000 a year, working 30 hours a week. Choosing your own clients, setting your own schedule. That's the fractional executive model. And if you're sitting there thinking this sounds too good to be true, you're exactly who needs to hear what comes next. Because the math actually works. By the end of this episode, you'll know exactly who this works for, how to make the transition, and the specific moves to build a portfolio career that changes everything. Let's rewind to 2020. The pandemic forced an experiment nobody asked for. Senior executives started working remotely, and something unexpected happened. They realized they could deliver strategic value without being physically present 60 hours a week. The commute? Gone. The endless meetings? Optional. The FaceTime? Suddenly irrelevant. At the same time, mid-market companies made their own discovery. They could access $400,000 talent without paying $400,000. They just had to share. The fractional model was born from this collision. Companies needed expertise they couldn't afford full-time. Executives wanted autonomy they couldn't get employed. Both sides won. Here's where we are today. The global fractional executive market has topped $5.7 billion and is growing at 14% annually. Demand for fractional executives grew 46% year over year according to a 2024 TopTal survey. 46%. In 1 year. By 2027, over 40% of C-suite roles in mid-market companies will be fractional. Not contractors, not consultants, fractional executives. Now here's what makes this different from consulting. A consultant advises. They deliver reports. They make recommendations. Then they leave. And the strategy often leaves with them. A fractional executive is different. They embed in your C-suite. They attend your board meetings. They own outcomes. They're accountable for results, not just recommendations. The most in-demand fractional roles right now, CFO, CMO, and COO. These are especially hot in VC-backed companies navigating growth and digital transformation. 57% of fractional executives work primarily remotely. That means you can build a portfolio career from anywhere with decent Wi-Fi. Let me paint you a picture of what this actually looks like day to day. A typical fractional executive works with 3 to 4 companies simultaneously. Each engagement runs 10 to 30 hours per week. Monday and Wednesday, you're the fractional CFO for a Series B fintech. Tuesday, you're leading marketing strategy for a healthcare startup. Thursday, you're the CFO for an e-commerce brand. Friday, that's your admin day, business development, or nothing at all. You built this. You own your time. That's the whole point. Among younger workers, 54% said having a portfolio career will be important to them at some stage. The traditional model is already obsolete to most of the next generation. By 2030, half of all professionals will have portfolio careers according to OECD forecasts. Half. This isn't a trend, it's the new normal arriving early. So who is fractional work actually for? Let's get specific. Because this isn't for everyone and pretending otherwise would waste your time. The ideal fractional candidate has 8 to 15 years of experience. They've held senior leadership roles. They've built things, scaled teams, delivered measurable results. Repeatedly. You need what SHRM calls fractionalizable expertise. That means a specific outcome you can deliver repeatedly across multiple companies, not general leadership. Specific, transferable value. Here's your first move. Audit your fractionalizable expertise. Ask yourself this question: what specific outcome can I deliver repeatedly across multiple companies? Not, I'm a good leader. Specific. I build sales teams from 0 to 20 reps. I implement financial controls for Series B companies. I launch products into new markets. The second ingredient is entrepreneurial DNA. You're not getting a steady paycheck from one employer. You're running a small business with yourself as the product. That means business development, invoicing, Contract negotiation, managing client relationships. If those words make you anxious instead of excited, fractional might not be your path. Third attribute, you need a strong professional network. Here's a truth most people don't want to hear. Most fractional roles come through warm introductions, not job boards. The companies hiring fractional executives want someone vouched for. They're trusting you with their strategy, with their board, with decisions that could make or break their growth. According to market analysis, businesses are now opting for fractional executives who work across 3 to 4 companies simultaneously, delivering high-level strategy without the overhead of a permanent hire. Let's talk money, because this is career cheat codes and we don't do vague, we do numbers. A fractional CFO typically charges $10,000 to $15,000 per month per client. A fractional CMO or COO sits in a similar range. Let's do the math on that. 3 clients at $12,000 each. That's $36,000 a month, $430,000 a year, working maybe 30 hours a week across all 3. Compare that to a traditional CFO role, same money maybe, but 60 to 80 hours a week. One employer controls your time, one bad quarter and you're out. Here's the positioning cheat code. Build your brand around outcomes, not hours. Not, I'm available 15 hours a week. Say I help Series B companies hit 10 million ARR. Nobody cares about your time. They care about results. Position yourself as the person who delivers a specific transformation. That's what commands premium rates. Now let's talk about how to actually make this transition, because quitting your job tomorrow and calling yourself a fractional CMO is a recipe for disaster. Trust me. Start building your fractional runway while you're still employed. Take on advisory roles. Join a startup board. Do consulting projects on nights and weekends. This does 2 things. First, you test whether you actually like the fractional model before betting your income on it. Second, you start building the client pipeline you'll need. When do you make the jump? When you have at least 1 signed fractional client, ideally 2, enough to cover your baseline expenses for 6 months minimum. Your first clients will almost always come from your existing network. Former colleagues, past employers, people you've helped before. Work those relationships first. Cold outreach works, but it's inefficient. A warm introduction from someone who's seen you deliver results is worth 50 cold emails. Focus your energy there. Join fractional executive networks. Groups like Chief, the fractional CFO community, or TopTal's network can provide deal flow, peer support, and credibility when you're starting out. Let me address the skeptics for a moment, because there's a legitimate criticism of fractional work that deserves a response. The knowledge transfer problem. When a fractional executive leaves, does the strategy leave with them? Are you just renting expertise instead of building institutional capability? This is fair. But here's what the best fractional executives do differently. They build systems, not just strategies. They document everything. They train internal teams to sustain the work. If you want to be a successful fractional executive, make this your mantra. Leave every company better than you found it. Systems they can run without you. That's how you build referrals. According to SHRM, the 3 key attributes of successful fractional executives are deep expertise, strong communication skills, and the ability to build trust quickly in new environments. That last one is critical. You don't have years to prove yourself. You have weeks, maybe days. The ability to establish credibility and rapport fast is non-negotiable. If you found this useful, hit subscribe. We break down career moves like this every week. No fluff. Just the specific plays that actually move the needle. Let me share a quote that captures what's really driving this shift. The pandemic didn't just change where we work, it changed how senior leaders think about time, value, and meaning. Post-pandemic shifts allowed senior leaders to reflect on their lives and encouraged more reflection, which gave rise to a desire to have more meaningful and purposeful work. This isn't just about money, it's about designing a career that gives you back your time, your autonomy, your ability to choose who you work with and what problems you solve. Here's your action plan. First, identify your fractionalizable expertise. What specific, measurable outcome can you deliver repeatedly? Write it down. Make it concrete. Second, audit your network. Who have you worked with who now leads a company that could use your expertise? Make a list of 20 names. Reach out to 5 this week. Third, Test the model before you commit. Take on an advisory role. Do a small consulting project. See if you like the fractional lifestyle before making it your whole career. Fourth, build your positioning around outcomes. Update your LinkedIn headline. Rewrite your bio. Every word should communicate the specific transformation you deliver, not your availability. Fifth, set your runway benchmark. Don't quit your job until you have at least one signed client and 6 months of expenses covered. This is a business, not a leap of faith. The fractional executive market is growing because it solves real problems for both sides. Companies get top talent they couldn't otherwise afford. Executives get freedom they couldn't otherwise achieve. This isn't a loophole. It's not a hack. It's a legitimate restructuring of how leadership works in the modern economy. And it's only accelerating. 40% of mid-market C-suite roles will be fractional by 2027. The question isn't whether this model works, it's whether you'll be positioned to take advantage of it. $400,000, 30 hours a week, clients you choose, problems you want to solve. That's not a fantasy, that's a playbook. And now you have it. I'm Career Cheat Codes. Go build something worth your time.